A thank you to Blizzard for being so timely with their news. Just after we had our video yesterday about what are you going to do in the first few weeks of 10.2, pointing out not just what to do with your grind in Mythic Plus, the crafted items, etc, etc. There was also the bit about the reputation for the few try-hard players who wanted to snatch the infinite Augment rune from the new factions of 10.2. That was also a possible thing roughly in the first week of the patch. Also quite nice for players who would have had not much else to do in the first week, since the raid and Mythic Plus and PvP and the new season in general wasn't open, right? You might as well do some grinding in the open world for this faction. We were a bit surprised, to be fair, that coming into the new patch you could have abused this thing right here. You could have abused the Dream Surge learnings buff and then gotten all that extra rep from your tokens. You know, it's quite a cheese to have it available for a brand new patch, and Blizzard hits us with a fix which is quite late in the development of the patch and before the release of the patch, which is the fact that now Dream Surge learnings, for starters, only increase your rep gains by 30%, no longer by 50%, but on top of that, it's going to exclude the Dream Wardens rep. So this means that now you can no longer stockpile all of the rep tokens you gained when you do the story quest of 10.2 and then move there to get roughly 7,000 extra rep you would have otherwise not gotten. So we went and talked about the checklist of what to do to get to this rep to Renown 18 for the rune, roughly in 6 to 7 days. That was the benchmark for your main character. This was done using 2 characters. You use the first character to get to Renown 10. Once you get to Renown 10, you gain the Word of a Worthy Ally buff to give you 100% more rep gains, and then you go in with your other character with the 100% extra rep buff and boost yourself up to 18. Luckily, the TLDR is that this is still possible with a few tweaks. Once more, another season, we have another mega guide from Amzeus in 10.2. You can use this guide, of course, as usual, to check plenty of other things, from the upgrade system to the loot overview to the gearing plan that will go live on how to get yourself to pretty high item level week after week. Here we have a week 6 guide to get to 483 item level, etc, etc, but also about the rep grind. The TLDR of the nerf of the Dream Surge rep gain is that now you will be able to get to Renown 18 for your rune roughly around week 1, day 4 or 5. So instead of getting Renown 18 roughly around here, like you could before the nerf, you will have to wait around here. So we are talking about still just, 4 to 5 days extra. You have to wait a few more days before you can get your hands on this rune. That's basically what the nerf did. Now, we have to be honest though, it's not just a rep falling from the sky. Before, this rep was being able to be earned, let's just say in a more relaxed way. This type of grind accounts, for example, you getting the 600 rep from daily rares every day for a full week, as well as making sure you don't miss any of the world quests for rep. So previously, you could have been slightly more laid back with things like elite rares, for example, because you didn't need to squeeze nearly as many rep gains because of the Dream Surge buff. Without the Dream Surge buff, you have to be a bit more thorough with the amount of rep you can gain. That being said, you still have the benefit of having a pretty straightforward and thorough guide on what to do. You get the usual step-by-step, what to do on week 1, on week 2, on week 3, etc, etc. You still have your coordinates for all the things you want to go after, like for example the new feature of the Unwaking Echoes in 10.2 with the coordinates, the special treasures with the coordinates, as well as a few things to make sure you don't forget, like for example doing everything up to until it's available with the Dark Moon Fair 10% buff, and then you have a couple of days of no extra buff, and then the WoW's 19th anniversary going live, giving you 19% more rep gains. it would be kind of a shame if you forgot to actually click on the item to get your rep buff gain. As well as a kind of a shame for you to be doing, for example, all of the weeklies, all of the world quests, all of the token turn-ins on this day of the reset when you don't have the buff. So you would have to remind yourself not to overdo it on week 1 when you don't have any buffs. Like it is smartly pointed out if you read the guide to not do anything else on day 1, because you won't have the anniversary buff. This is the change brought by the nerf of the Dream Surge rep. As I said, it doesn't actually change too much in when you will get it, because you're going from getting it on Wednesday to getting it on Saturday, basically. So even from a raider's perspective, you raid on Wednesday, on Thursday, and Sunday. Okay, you miss a couple of days. You miss a couple of days without having a rune, and that's it. That's just about everything that changes with this rep nerf. As I said, the main change isn't even in how late you get it, but rather in the slightly increased grind you have to do for the rep. But, as I said, it's week 1. Week 1, there is no raid. Week 1, there is no Mythic Plus. Week 1, there is literally nothing else to do other than this. So if you wanted a time to go and do some elite hunting in the open world when you don't have anything better to do, it's pretty much the best time to do so. So this is the change for today. We're also, of course, leaving behind the link to this entire guide by Amzius. As I said, there are plenty of other interesting things for you to check, like the gearing plan, the loot overview, the upgrade system if you want to check it out. And for today, this is all we have in terms of PSAs of changes coming in 10.2. This time around being about the reputation gains nerf. So for today on this Thursday, we are now leaving each other once more. Thanks, of course, as usual, to all of the Patreon supporters for the contribution and help to the growth of the channel, and at the same time, you can still do so completely for free. You can like and comment down below, as well as subscribe to the channel itself. Now, with these pointless things out of the way, thank you guys again for watching. See you guys tomorrow, and in the meantime, we got here kinda late. I woke up, but I didn't sleep enough. I stayed awake for an hour or so, and then I went to sleep again, so now the video is out late. Happens.